Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Come on in. Let me know how you're doing as you're coming in. Did not remember my water, but let me know how your Tuesday is going. I'm having an amazing start to the week so far, and I hope you are as well. So as you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about 3 ways to release emotional blocks with the law of assumption. And this will work for you if you are a self-concept or law of assumption or manifestation coach. This is really for anyone who is into the law of assumption, but if you are a coach, this will be a bonus, if not a review of what you can potentially do in order to fully release. So this is going to be like a emotional releasing live video. I'm just going to walk you through the steps. So when I talk about just emotional releasing, I want you to think of it as a way to guide yourself. And I started the beginning of yesterday's video as this opportunity that if you notice that you are in an emotional state where you want to start to release some of your old self-concept, your old identity, your old thought patterns and circumstances, separation, all of that, you are consciously aware of this, which is amazing. So that's the first step, is that you're consciously aware of this. And I'm going to be talking about your conscious awareness in a few, but I want you to also give yourself grace. Because when you notice that you are either repeating the same cycle over and over again, or you're experiencing separation in a new time, but in a same or similar way as you did in the past, it's really an opportunity for you to be able to notice where you're at right now in relation to your desire, but just give yourself time and grace and patience to really get anchored in the awareness that instead of your mind going to what you want, like you're probably noticing that instead of your mind going to exactly what it is that you want, it's actually going toward what it is that you don't want. So this is for someone who notices the patterns, that wants to just break that pattern cycle and really start to anchor in on their emotional self-regulation. So this is going to be a really great video for those of you who need that conscious awareness of your emotional body, of your emotional feeling states, of just like being able to shift into or out of your false beliefs, your old identity, your old self-concept, into a mode of, let's say, not living in the end per se, because I did have that as a part of the title, but maybe that is too far of a jump. Maybe if you are feeling really resonated with this video, that you are just wanting to get to a space of neutrality, and that's what's going to feel really good for you, versus you being in a mode of dysregulation and not fully being in 100%. It doesn't have to be 100%, but just in an embodiment of this emotional stability, safety and security, but mostly stability. So before I get started, I have a one-on-one program for self-concept. If you are interested in working with me in a one-on-one capacity, I look forward to hearing from you. In the program, I will be shifting you in live time into the version of yourself that is embodied in your desire. And it's quite interesting because when you have these one-on-one sessions with me, you're not only shifting, but you're also going through breakthroughs. Like, you're also getting this conscious awareness that you need in order to really shift yourself from a place of being observer to being in a neutral space, then to actually shifting into your desire embodiment. So you actually go through a whole lot in just one session with me, and I look forward to speaking with you if this is something that you're really interested in. And I urge you to really reach out to me this time around because we are approaching the end of 2023 and I'm not sure if I will be relaunching this program again after the month of October. So I look forward to hearing from you, and let's dive deep into the video. So I talked about grace. I talked about you giving yourself the space, the patience, the compassion, that will allow you to be a guide for yourself. So I mentioned you are going to be your guide from this point forward, and you're guiding yourself through these steps. And actually, I was writing down these steps yesterday, and I completely just was amazed because all of these steps start with the letter B, and it's not intentional. It's just it's exactly what needs to happen when you are going through your emotional releasing and just stepping into the version of yourself that already has your desire. So before I get into the points too, I want to talk about this because I also want to just talk about identity and self-concept at the end. So I want to talk about how your blockages, because this is what I mentioned in the live. Again, I changed the title of the live just to get you to step into a better understanding of where this live was going to go in the first place. So where this live is going to go is to just allow you to get a deeper understanding of why you even have these blocks in the first place, right? So I switched it from blocks to emotional releasing because that's what blocks essentially are, is training yourself, training your body consciously to release these blockages, these false beliefs, the separation, etc. And you want to really get yourself into a space of getting regulated, right? You want to get to a space of you being able to notice your triggers, you being able to know what actually sets off those triggers. And when I say that this is related back to your past and your childhood is because it's 100% true. Most of the time, if you are going through a mode of resistance to materializing or manifesting something new or manifesting something on a consistent basis, you are not manifesting or materializing this particular desire because your subconscious mind does not take that as something that's familiar. In fact, it actually takes it as something that is a threat to your life. So if you are in this mode of you want to materialize a desire, but it's not coming because you are fixated on, and this is not intentional, this could be completely subconscious, is that you're fixated on the blockages and only experiencing what is familiar to you. And even if that familiarity, that experience is familiar to you, it's still going to materialize because your subconscious mind doesn't know any different, right? So these could be all the false beliefs that you have adopted. It could have been generationally, it could have been ancestrally, but let's talk about just the first 7 years of your life for now. And whatever happened in those first 7 years of your life dictated what the cycles would have been for you from the point of, after 7, so 8 onward till this point. So it's not that you are the person or you are in a conscious state of mind where you are aware of this. This is me telling you that this is why the pattern is happening. So when you are consciously aware of it, you know exactly why your false beliefs continue to materialize, because this is just what your subconscious mind has been doing on autopilot, keeping you alive. Meanwhile, it's not really it's only materializing what is familiar to you. So again, going back to change and you being able to at least be aware of this false belief materializing, you want to get to a mode of where you can actually start to get really anchored in your regulation so that you are not triggered by the circumstances that are appearing real, the familiarity of what you've been through in the past, repeating itself over and over again. This is why you're noticing the patterns. This is why you're noticing the cycles. This is why you're probably really annoyed at the fact that you continue to material or manifest a new experience on a consistent basis that is favorable to you, that is a new desire to you, but it's not yet familiar with the subconscious mind, nor is it even interested in materializing this thing for you, because you are still holding those blocks in your emotional body that need to be released. So I want to just get that out there to let you know that it is a lot deeper than you just noticing the patterns and getting frustrated with yourself. And this is why you're going to continue to experience the same patterns over and over again, is because you're not giving yourself the emotional regulation that you need in order to release those emotional blocks that are stored in your emotional body. So this is why I talk about emotional self-regulation, because you cannot impress or saturate the subconscious mind without resting, without relaxation, without doing a series of breath work that will allow you to really get into your emotional body and into your subconscious mind and into just a mode of relaxation. This is how you're going to release your emotional blocks. So be mindful of that. So I want to get into just the first point, which is like I labeled it as breakthrough. So this is you getting consciously aware of what patterns are appearing real for you that are false beliefs rematerializing as your experiences. So you want to get really honest and anchored in with what you're noticing about how you're experiencing yourself, how you're experiencing others, and how you're experiencing reality. And it doesn't hurt to really sit down in stillness to really get an idea of where these continuous circumstances, experiences come from, right? And it's really simple once you get into a conscious awareness that this is happening for you or happening through you, because it is a lesson that needs to be learned in order to of course be released and then onward into your high self concept. So be mindful that you want to be still and relaxed and really receptive of what your subconscious mind is telling you. And that's where inner dialogue comes in, is how you're actually going to maneuver through these emotional states in order to shift into a more favorable feeling state. So always, not always, but just keep that in mind, that is the first point that you want to keep account of, is being aware of what your false beliefs are, and navigating through those false beliefs with your feeling states, and being able to notice when you are going to rematerialize this experience. And hopefully this is not going to rematerialize in the process of you working on releasing this emotional block. Okay. And again, if this happens, then especially if you are growing your conscious awareness, it's not going to continue to materialize the more and more conscious that you are of it, and the more you get anchored in your regulation, because your universe, like your world, others are only reflecting back to you what you are feeling. So whatever feeling states you are feeling right now is the feeling that is going to continue to materialize. This is why it's so important, again, to get really anchored in your regulation. So I spoke about your emotional triggers, getting aware of your emotional triggers, relating those triggers back to how you were raised and the experiences that you had between, of course, the ages that you can remember up to the age of 7, that have dictated the rest of your life and how you experience life. Because again, you're living this experience over and over again because it's familiar to you. And what you want to do is impress the subconscious mind with this new experience, with this new idea. But you cannot do that if you have this emotional block. Okay? So the breakthrough starts with a B. The next B is being able to know how to do breath work effectively. So there are tons of resources online on YouTube that you can look into. If you are really anchoring in on your breath work and you just need a really good resource, send me a DM and I'd be glad to flip that to you. However, if you want to really create a new experience for yourself, it all has to start with how you're breathing and how you're really experiencing yourself. When you desire, again, you're asking yourself to experience yourself in a completely different way. So with that said, you're asking yourself, your higher self, for permission when it's already given you the desire. So it's almost counterintuitive when you ask yourself over and over again to have this experience, and then you continuously sort of deny yourself of having this experience because you continuously ask for permission. And what I mean by asking for permission is that you have this you have this awareness, this conscious awareness that you cannot yet receive your desire. So in a way, you're really battling yourself, your higher self. You're denying yourself of this desire because of the circumstances that are appearing real for you. Right? And so this is why you're probably in a mode of hot and cold and not feeling secure and not feeling stable and feeling messy and not feeling really anchored in your emotional stability. It's because you keep battling with yourself. You keep battling with the thought of not having this desire because all of these circumstances are more important than you actually receiving it. And my last point is to be really anchored in your beliefs. So the way that you are experiencing your life, again, going back to childhood, if you can make the correlation back to childhood, that's already a breakthrough. Knowing that you are consciously aware of this emotional trigger related back to this experience that you had before the age of 7 is stellar. It is like something that you should actually celebrate for yourself, because it is the type of awareness that if one had known, one who has lived their entire life had known, they would have been able to transform their entire lives by just knowing this very thing, is that they need to be able to connect the dots so that they could go in a completely different direction. You are here because you don't want to continuously repeat the same cycle and the patterns and the experiences over and over again. So this is how you're going to make sure that you get anchored in your aligned beliefs, is that when you release your beliefs and when you know that you have this desire and you receive this desire by inner-imaginal experiences, by doing your techniques, by a series of, again, like meditation, journaling, affirming, like affirmations, any technique that is shifting you into the version of you that already has your desire is working 100%, and you need to stay anchored in that very technique. So this is the thing when it comes to techniques, is I cannot tell you exactly what technique is going to work best for you, because your subconscious mind is the dictator on what that technique is going to look like. When I talk about your routine, when I talk about just incorporating a daily practice into your overall lifestyle, this is a lifestyle change. You're not going to shift just by doing the technique robotically or whatever you want and then receive the results, especially if you want consistent results. You have to give yourself that grace and that compassion, yes, but you also have to back that up with inspired action that is really bringing you to the version of yourself that is full, whole, complete, and the version of you, of course, that already has this desire. So, and I know this is probably a tangent, but I want to talk about inspired action for a second, because I, again, like the same as like the terms manifesting and manifestations and all of that, and the wanting and the doing versus the being state. Because everything that you want is a being state first before it could actually materialize as an experience. But I do want to talk about inspired action. When you are in inspired action, you are not doing the action. Like, you're not doing the thing. The thing is you. And I hope this makes sense. I just want to really find a phrase that is more fitting to how inspired action actually feels, because it's less about doing the action and more about, this is the version of myself that already has this desire. Therefore, doing the thing or being the thing is just who I am. It is not about, oh, well, I have to prepare myself for 5 hours before I get to show up. It's like, it's you being this version of yourself that already has your desire. Thank you so much, Kristen. That already has your desire, and this activity that you're doing is more like a behavior that is just acting out of something that you don't even have to think about. So you're not even thinking about doing this inspired action. You're just waking up every day before your alarm hits 6 o'clock because you are the person that wakes up at 5:30. So I hope, I know that just hit the nail on the head. Thanks for this. Oh, of course, definitely. So I want to just go into just recapping and summarizing all of this, because all of this, no matter what, goes back to your identity and your self-concept. If you are noticing that you have to do emotional releasing work, it means that you are ready to shift outside of your false beliefs and into your high self-concept and into your new identity. Honestly, your high self-concept is your new identity. So you're going to experience yourself in a completely different way because you asked for this experience. You are asking for a new experience. When you desire, you are ready to leave your old self and step into and shift into and maintain the feeling states of your desired version of your high self-concept. And quickly, in summary, is you're having a breakthrough. So a breakthrough is just like a complete understanding that you are consciously aware of the patterns that are repeating back to you over and over again. And when you notice this, because I've been in these modes before and they are so annoying, let me just tell you, they are extremely annoying and excruciating, because you know that you are ready to consciously make this move, but your subconscious mind is not yet in relaxation enough to the point where you can saturate and impress your subconscious mind with this new belief. So you cannot impress or saturate your subconscious mind without relaxation. So always keep that in mind. And then, so we went through the breakthrough, being consciously aware of your false beliefs, relating that back to your emotional triggers, stepping into releasing your emotional triggers with a series of breath work, and incorporating this into your daily practice. Lastly, working on your beliefs. So once you have really released your emotional blockages, you feel like this is an emotional and physical easiness. I cannot tell you how many times I've actually gone through emotional releasing and have felt a weight lifted off of my shoulders and my chest, like a physical weight lifted. Seriously. And so this is how you know you are going through the shifting outside of your false beliefs and into a more regulated space, into a space where you are feeling more safe, you are feeling more stable, you are feeling more secure. And that is the goal for this live. Is, again, if you're in here, this is what your next step needs to be. So forget about, just briefly forget about living in the end, briefly forget about receiving your desire. All you need to work on is releasing all of these emotions so that you could create space for your subconscious mind to impress and saturate yourself with this new aligned identity, this new belief, aligned belief, this new high self-concept. You are shifting identities, but first it's almost like you are creating a stable foundation, a fundamental foundation for yourself to really shift and maintain this new high self-concept. So this is all extremely important before you even dive into feeling is the state and or feeling is the secret and I gotta stay in this state. Because again, if you're noticing a discord or an uneasiness when you are shifting and you're doing the affirmations, you're doing the techniques, and you're not yet feeling shifted, you need some releasing work to do. You need to do some releasing work, and nothing is going to change until you do that. everything, again, your false beliefs, all of that is going to rematerialize if you do not do the releasing of your emotional blocks. So keep that in mind. Again, some of you are still here, so this is why I am repeating myself, because I know some of you are still here where you are consciously aware that nothing is shifting for you. But when you do the breath work and you have this breakthrough and you're doing the breath work, you are automatically going to notice the shifts that is going on, not just within you, but you're going to notice a movement in your reality that reflects back to you exactly what you want anyway. So don't feel like you are not going to get what it is that you want. You are still going to get your desire. You're still going to receive all of the things. But this is a way that you could actually create space within your emotional body to give yourself these imaginal experiences. Because if you still have false beliefs in your subconscious mind, your subconscious mind already knows what it has to materialize. Even though it's unfavorable, even though it's not desired, it's still going to materialize this false belief until you get into a mode of, again, relaxation. And imagination only, I feel like imaginal acts and imaginal experiences and being able to shift in your feeling states are only effective if you are in a mode of relaxation. Like if you're in a state of false belief and, again, consciously realizing that this pattern is happening over and over again, your subconscious mind is torn. It's really split in between you wanting this thing and, again, wanting. So wanting is not really having, because, again, like having your desire is a being state. I hope this makes sense, because it's like your subconscious mind is really in a split between materializing what it is that you want and then materializing what it is that is familiar to them or familiar to it. So if you're not really giving yourself that relaxation, that routine, that regulation, and your subconscious mind is confused and is like not really sure if it wants to be on board with this new idea, without it, even with or without it being impressed and saturated with this new idea, if you are noticing this pattern, it means that you have not done the releasing work. I'll just leave it at that. And for those of you who are, again, in this mode and just need to get more context, because I'm speaking really general still, even though I'm getting specific in what I'm speaking about, this is still really general. So depending on what is going on with you, depending on where you are in your feeling states, in your regulation, in your just overall manifestation process, this could be really important for you just along your journey, but even in the specific, even in the specific phase that you are in right now. So I urge you to just send me a DM, because it doesn't hurt to get more information about how you are being shifted and whether you actually do need more guidance on it. So feel free to just reach out to me and let me know if there are just, patterns that you're noticing and you're just completely annoyed about and you just want to get released so that you can start to shift into a new identity, high self-concept. I would love to speak to you regarding that. So on that note, this was a very potent live, as most of them are, and I look forward to hearing how determined you are to really shift outside of these emotional blocks and shift into this new high self-concept where you are able to hold more aligned feeling states, imaginal acts, and inner self-dialogue, so that you can ensure that this reality is going to materialize. And the desire embodiment, and going back to that, is you want to be so anchored in your desire embodiment that opposition could stare you in the face and you will know that this is still going to be materialized, and materialize in a matter of days, weeks, maybe even months. But it should not take forever, because when you desire anything, it happens instantly. You are getting that direct feeling state, which is that direct experience of you experiencing this entire desire in this now moment. And it takes a lot out of you when you deny yourself of experiencing this desire. Desire embodiment does not need any physical evidence of it of it appearing in front of you, in order for it to be real, just know that it is real. Feeling is the secret. So really, like with that phrase of what Neville Goddard mentions, like, if feeling is the secret, then what is this feeling revealing to you? It should be expansive, right? It should be a version of yourself that already experiences this desire, and is only a matter of time before it actually reflects in reality. So on that note, again, if you are interested in hearing more about your feeling states and how you can get into this daily practice of emotional releasing, so that you can start to assume your newer reality, assume your new identity, and assume your new high self-concept, I'm your girl. Send me a DM. And if you actually want to lock in some time for us to actually chat one-on-one on just your overall manifestation process, how I shift you into desire embodiment, just go ahead and click the link in my bio. And it is the third link down, and you could lock in a time where we can have a discussion and talk about how we could potentially work well together. So on that note, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next live. Cheers.